Hello, hello, hello. We are here and we're getting ready. Hello. So let's continue. We're doing like dinner or so. Two of you made your way back into the living room. As you expected, Cope's parents were politely waiting for you at the kitchen table. Besides the window overlooking the back of the house, food had been prepared and stacked. Mr. Holden beamed as you and Cove took your place. I hope everyone's hungry. I cooked up a feast. I know I am. Yeah. Cove's mumbled response wasn't nearly as upbeat as theirs. His parents didn't notice, or they pretended not to. Mr. Holden instead looked at you grinning. This just gives like, oh, I gotta pour up, like a offer or something. Kind of feeling like a cult or something. Okay. Let's take a moment to thank our special guest for being with us here tonight. I'm so glad you were able to make it, Destiny, and on such short notice. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you both for inviting me. Well, that's it. Everyone, please dig in. You can help yourself to the food. Upon his encouragement, you looked over the meal spread out in front of you. There was a large garden salad in the center, surrounded by a variety of Mexican dishes, and there was a lot of sides and optional sauce to add. Mm. He didn't mind Mexican food. Mom loved it, so you ate it as a family often. In a way, it made your first dinner at the Holden house feel a bit more normal. Utensils, plates scraped and clanked together as the group began to fill their plate. Cliff, could you pass the salad, Bruno? Gosh, thank you. Let me just say, you really outdid yourself tonight. I'm so jealous. Jealous of what? Your cooking is nothing to sneeze at, Kara. You're a flirting shame, another divorce. Hope's parent made small talk filling the silence with what seemed to be barely any effort. You chimed in as well. Did it take you long time to cook all this, Mr. Holden? Oh, not at all. Sure, this is more than I usually make for me and Cove, but I enjoy every second of it. Might have gone faster if you had some help, though. Cove's mom grumbled, but it was lighthearted. Mr. Holden chuckled and shook his head. Not this again. I make the rules here, so I say guests don't cook. Even when they're staying for literal weeks. Even then. Everything looks good. Great, Dad, as always. Thanks, Ford. Glad you think so. Cove smiled. It was genuine, even if it was strained at the corners. Brief silence interspersed small talk. You piled some food on your plate, waiting for your turn. If someone was serving themselves to a dish that you had your eyes on. Once the food had been divided, things settled down. Cove's parents started talking again. Now then, you sat up in your seat when you noticed they were both looking at you. Has everything been going over at your house? Are your moms well? You've been keeping busy this summer, or maybe you're trying to take it easy during the break? Felt overwhelmed, you were blindsided by them, your mind blank. Then again, this was Mr. Holden. Maybe you should have expected this. Moms are fine. Just kind of busy here with work and stuff. That's nice. They're doing fine part, not the busy at work part, obviously. That's good. Oh, that's wonderful. Haven't done much. Smart choice. Take it easy when you can. When I was your age, busy work was furthest from my mind. Kara nodded. You could see she was actually listening to the words she was saying. She was trying to include you, not humor you. Did you know, Cliff? Destiny is really into music. Mr. Holden's face lit up. He stopped eating so he can lean forward, his arm braced against the table. Oh, that's right. Very cool. Pretty serious about it. You are? At such a young age, that's really impressive. If you keep putting in the time, I'm sure you can do something great. Thanks. Cliff's parents were definitely the encouraging type, but you could already tell much about them. There was a lull in the conversation. Everyone focused their attention to their respective plate. You noted not for the first time because parents were the one guiding the conversation. You wondered if you should break the silence this time. I also like other things. Would you like to tell us more? Yeah, absolutely. They looked genuinely eager for you to keep talking, so you did. The rest of dinner, you continued just like that with light conversation as you ate your meals. Eventually, all the dishes on the kitchen table were pretty much gone. Kara set down her fork and rested her arms at her side, letting a loose, satisfied sigh. Her plate was completely empty. That was delish. Thank you for your culinary creations, Cliff. Mr. Holden was like a flower soaking up the rays of sun. He beamed, flattered by the phrase. It had taken you some time to finish it off, but eventually you cleared your plate. Cub successfully capped his present to a minium. For the full meal, he was slumped over, even now toying with his silverware. His parents practically only talked to you. Most attempt to entice them to join the conversation has failed. It wasn't typical for him to say so little. He at least tried to precipitate, join in. You didn't get much time to contemplate Cove's situation because your attention was taken by Mr. Holden pointedly clearing his voice. Not to sound like a broken record, but thank you for coming, Destiny. I'm glad we finally got the chance to have you over for a real dinner. What? Did I hear that right? This is the first time Destiny has ever had dinner here. Why in the world haven't you invited her over sooner? Cove was always the one going over Destiny's house until now. I mean, how am I supposed to reject the generous offer of the Haas family to host my kid? Kara shook her head, but the amused smile she was sporting told you that she wasn't actually mad. This guy, honestly. With that dinner finally came to an end. Mr. Holden stood up from the table and began collecting empty plates. Cove was asked to help out, which he did with little fuss. Kara tried to lend a hand as well, however, Mr. Holden didn't let her. It seemed like she was barred from cleaning as well as cooking. Dave. And I will be right back for a quick minute. guys, I'm back. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Okay. You weren't allowed to chip in either since you were there as the declared guest of honor. Although the meal was over and the night wasn't, it looked like you weren't going home just yet. After all, you were asked to wait on the couch. While Cub and his dad were cleaning up the mess, Kara disappeared down the hall after shooting you a wink. It was a bit strange sitting by yourself while everyone else had something to do. Luckily, you weren't alone for too long. Okay. After a couple minutes, Cove's mom returned with the deck of cards. Ooh, tarot! She's into tarot! Or maybe they're doing a game of deck of cards in hand. She strolled into the room confidentially while shuffling. So, who's up for a few rounds? Okay, they're just playing cards. Cove and his dad looked over their shoulder at the question. They were mutually intrigued by the cards in her hand. She beamed at their expression and stepped further into the living room, ignoring the couches. She sat cross-legged on the floor by the coffee table. She turned to you, gestured at the space beside her, smiling invitingly. You accepted. You followed her lead. The living room carpet was soft, though the hardwood floor underneath could definitely still be felt. Kara did an overhand shuffle while she waited for the others to finish task. Her smile had yet to leave her lips. This is going to be good. You enjoyed it. Coach Mom was funny, upbeat, and easygoing. You leaned closer to watch her expertly shuffle the cards. It didn't take much longer for Cove and his dad to wrap things up enough to call it good. Cove's dad appeared first, followed closely by Cove. Mr. Holden rubbed his hands together in anticipation. All right, I'm ready. As he took his seat across from the room on the floor, you noticed that Cole hadn't joined him. He went straight down the hall instead. Without even a word, you stared on in confusion as he disappeared through his bedroom door. Cove didn't look concerned at the stunt. Cove nonchalantly split the cards into two, rifling half the cards together while offering an explanation of sorts. Cove doesn't keep his wallet with him. When at home, he puts it away. What? Cove quickly returned to the living room with the black wallet in hand. Oh, they're playing for money. He took a place at the foot of the table with the rest of you. You glanced at his Cove and zipped his wallet. You all use real money on a card game with family? While you sat there, your hands idled in your lap, three shot looks at one another, sized each other up. That's right. $5 per round per person. Winner takes all. Get big and get home. Oh, are you planning on kicking kicking Destiny on the curb, or do you intend on donating to the guest of honest pot, Mr. High Roller? Mr. Holden narrowed his eyes and leaned back against the side of the couch, completely at ease. If Destiny went to play, I'll find her way. Don't you worry about that. He rested in an arm on the top of the knee. On top of the knee, he propped up. Kolstad was acting slick in a way you never seen before. Oh, it's been bad toxic energy back. You appreciate his offer. Thanks, Mr. Holden. His tone and stance instantly became more familiarly friendly when he started directing his words towards you. No problem, you can count on me. Well, you got your ticket, entered Stanton's rolling in. You glanced around. This seems like serious business. In response to your consternation, Kara softened her competitive smile. Don't worry too much. We'll probably do some round of goldfish tonight. No biggie. What do you think? You joined him. I love to play. Mr. Holden gave you a big thumbs up while Cove nodded firmly back. You're decent at goldfish. Oh. Okay. Sometimes you won, sometimes you lost. You like to think you weren't bad at it though. Fantastic! We'll play for however long everyone wants to keep going, or until people start running out of cash, but are still refusing to quit when they are behind. Speaking for yourself, AC. With the left card nudged you using an elbow, then motioned towards the other two with their chin. Don't be fooled by their soft faces. These boys are sharks. In reaction to her words, Mr. Holden smirked and Hope's eyebrow became more angled. Claire's phrases made you think back when you were young, specifically Mr. Holden's favorite shark pants that he used to wear all the time. Perhaps they had been a fit for him in a way he didn't know. You could feel tension in the air. Cove and his parents glued their eyes to one another, then all placed a $5 in the empty space in front of them. Mr. Holden dropped an extra for you, giving you a grand after you did. Once this was done, Kyra began dealing out the cards to everyone. It was time to begin. The first round came and went quickly, the group getting into the groove of things. You won right away, which meant you had money to keep playing the second round. You're a natural. Nicely done. You better keep those wits about you for the next round, though. As the night went on, so did the games. Mr. Holden would jokingly shake his fist whenever someone other than him got a pair. Kara acted as a new anchor, reporting in on every move everyone made by speaking into her curled fist. Cove was still still a few words, but now it was because he was focused on the game instead of being overcome with awkwardness. Most of the time, you even spotted a smile on his lip. You won quite a few games. To your delight, you had hefty money pile on your side of the table. You must regret playing Destiny's way now, huh? I just may be. At this rate, she's gonna bleed me dry. Sorry, Mr. Holden, but it's too late now. Well said. It became clear that the money went in the moment. It didn't really matter. They ended up giving it back to one another in other ways, and not just through the rounds of cards. You sat back looking at the scene. A tiny smile grew on your face. Cope's parents were pretty cool, you thought. Front. You were glad you got a chance to come over to spend time with them, the three of them. Save. Let's do going. Early one afternoon, you found yourself in the living room with your family. It was another one of those summer days where it felt too hot to go outside, but it was too uncomfortable to do anything inside either. The air conditioner was cranked up as far as you could negotiate with it, but everyone was still pretty lazy. You, your mom, and your sister were lounging around while TV blared on in the backdrop, ignored by all of you. You specifically were. You stared up at the ceiling, your eyes unfocused and mind clear of all thoughts. Elizabeth broke the silence with a loud groan. You glanced over. She was laying on her back over the couch, massaging her calf with one hand. Oh, I feel terrible. I'm dying in this house, and my legs are all growing up means maturing. Mom looked up from the magazine she'd barely been flipping through and frowned, concerned. Could you have strained them somehow? Elizabeth flailed briefly, then flopped on her side with a heavy sigh. I don't know, it just hurt. Oh, sweetheart. Ma got up from her seat from the kitchen and walked over to your sister. She did a light pat on Elizabeth's shoulder, sympathy. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. Maybe it's growing pain. You could be taller by next fall. Elizabeth scoffed. She didn't look impressed by Ma's assessment. I'd rather be my height forever than deal with this. Mom walked over to her, leaning against the back of the couch. Kids, they grow up so fast. Soon Elizabeth will have a home of her own. Maybe a nice husband and kids, if he feels like it. She sniffed loudly and wiped her eye, but you could tell it was just a bit. You tilted your head even though you knew Elizabeth liked guys. It was hard to imagine her with a boyfriend or husband. She only seemed invested in hanging out with her group of friends, not chasing after the boys. Mom must agree with you, because she shook her head. Let's not exaggerate, she's still practically a child. But if you ever do pursue romance, Elizabeth, you can come and talk to me about it. Definitely, we're always willing to lend an ear. Elizabeth's features contorted in disgust. Oh no! No way! I'm not talking to my moms about that. Mom's jaw dropped and gasped in an exaggeration display of shock. Her hand came to rest against her chest. Mom agreed she didn't look offended by Elizabeth's quick response after all. It really wouldn't be so bad if you come to us. I know what it's like to have a crush on a pretty boy or two. I don't, but I can listen anyway. Mom snorted at her own joke, while Mom burst into giggles. They were having too much fun at Elizabeth's expense. Elizabeth certainly wasn't feeling the amusement because she rolled her eyes and sat up. I'm going back to my room. I'd rather melt alone, thank you. She strode off towards the staircase, taking a steps two at a time. Your mom stared at her, then turned to each other with raised eyebrows. Whoops, looks like we scared her off with all the romance talk. Oh well, we'll get her next time. You watched them titter with some surprise. Obviously, your mom liked women, but you had no idea how that mom liked guys too. Today was the first time you heard her say something like that. No, I always thought you liked ladies. You like guys too? Mom turned to you, happy to bring you into things now that you've spoken up. She smiled and nodded. That's right, I like both, but I like your mom most of all of everyone. She's special. My smile turned off soft in the corner like it usually did when she looked at her. She pinched Mom's cheeks lightly. Mom reached up to cup a hand over Ma's. Even Mom stopped pulling her cheek. Her hands remained clasped together. Thanks, Alani. I think most women have charm, but no one can hold a candle to you. Oh, Pamela. Ma beamed and kissed Mom on the cheek she's been pinching for before. You smiled to yourself at the sight, no matter how often your mom expressed their feelings for each other. It was always nice to witness it. Ma looked back to you, letting Mom's hand go with a brief squeeze. She settled down next to you and Mom followed soon after. You know, I'm also here to listen to you whenever you're ready. That offers isn't just for Elizabeth. She bumped her shoulder with Dora's reassuring smile in place. There was no rush, of course. You can take all the time you need to figure out what or who you want. Don't think you have to stick with whatever you come up with right now. Either life's nice like that. You can change and you can learn. Mom nodded her agreement. The two of us are happy to hear you out. We may not be able to relate better than you think. We won't push the topic, at least most of the time. She had Mom the weakest scathing look as possible as while being unable to stop grinning. Thanks. I think about it. Good, that's all we asked for. Mom let out another exaggerated sniffle. It didn't take continuous to realize it was fake. First Elizabeth and now you, Destiny. You have to grow up. Yeah, yes, children tend to do that from time to time. Your parents quickly grew absorbed in their conversations about rearing kids. You took that as a cue to leave and getting up so you could spend some time alone in your room. They let you go without a problem, so you made your way upstairs. You let out a sigh once you stepped into your room. It was just as sweltering in there as it was in the living room, possibly even a little bit warmer. You couldn't even open your window since it was hotter outside and you just let the AC out. You dragged your feet across the room. You checked the current sheltering condition in the mirror as you passed by it. You thought back to the conversations you had downstairs about growing up and all that. At that moment, you stepped a bit closer to the mirror. You stared into it and turned away from the surface to look down at yourself. You were definitely going all right. It was weird thinking about how you are now in comparison to what you've been when you were younger. When it came to your body, it slender. You shifted to the outside, your head still facing forward, continuing self-evaluation from this viewpoint. And there's no mistaking it. Even your shirt helping to obscure your form. You had boobs now. You took a step back, finishing your impromptu inspection. You locked your eyes with your reflection, cocking your head side to side, all things considered. You look fantastic. You beamed, pleased at what you saw. You winked for good measure before chuckling at yourself. You shook your head, roughly putting your thoughts of what you were turning into of your mind. This wasn't the time to focus on such things. You had to find something to do in the seat. You shuffled over to your bed, collapsing on the mattress. Your brow scrunched up in thought. Time passed slowly into your annoyance. Possible ideas about what to do were few and far between. You weren't sure how long it had been, but eventually you heard your mom calling you from downstairs. Destiny! Cove will be coming over soon, just letting you know. You frowned at the confusion, but you didn't bother complaining. It was already decided. Okay. With that decided, you pushed yourself off the bed and headed downstairs. Might as well, since he would be there in a few. You needed to go downstairs soon anyway, because your empty stomach told you it was almost time for lunch. Just as you reached the bottom of the stairs, you saw Mom put the phone back on the receiver. She glanced at Ma, her mouth opening to say something. When she caught a sight of you, she blinked in surprise. Oh, hi, kiddo. I didn't mean you need to come down right this second. If you want to wait for him, though, that's great. We'll get out of your way. You and Cove have fun, okay? With that, your mom made their way down the hall. You heard the floor creak until they reached a room on the other side of the house. Now you are alone in the living room, tasked with waiting for Cove. You weren't exactly thrilled to have to host Cove so suddenly, but you were used to it by now. Who knew what he wanted this time? You took a seat at the kitchen counter and settled in for the wait. As expected, there was a knock at the door a few minutes later. No, what you do? Stop! A few minutes later, when you got up and answered it, you're move this so you can sit down and lay down. I love you and I'll pet you. Your neighbor was standing on the other side. He came in when you stepped aside to let him pass, giving him a little wave. You returned his wave with half a heartedly of your own before you decided to close the door behind him. Cove sighed and wiped his face a little bit. You noticed a sheen of sweat across his eyebrows. You must be glad to be back in the air-conditioned place, even if he had to walk across the street to get there. Is something going on? Why do you want to come over? It's too hard to do anything, but my parents don't think so. It's like they don't even notice. They want alone time. I figured coming here would mean I could just sit. Your mom said it was okay. Alright, I can get that. If your mom insisted on doing activities in this heat, you wanted to make sure it was a quick escape too. Thankfully, they weren't immune to the weather like this, like Coves have seemed to be. Were you doing something? Not really. I just really need to get lunch soon. I haven't eaten anything today. Would it be okay if I had lunch too? You thought about it briefly before lightly nodding. No, you can't have food. I guess it should be fine. Once you headed into the kitchen, you caught your arm as you glanced around, wondering what you should scrounge up for a meal. Pizza! I don't want to eat anything that's warmed up. There's something cold or not cooked. Yeah. I looked back and forth. The two of you concluded you should raid the fridge cabinet to make sandwiches. Don't you bite me, Leo. I'll help you. There. With that settled, you had planned to decide on the outside layer first. There was a wide variety to choose from, since everyone in your house had their own favorite. There was white bread, there was wheat bread, there was sour bread, there was mixed grains, there was gluten-free bread, and a pizza pocket. Could you take the green one for me? Sure. You reached out for the mixed grain and you made your decision. Cinnamon swirl bread. You pulled out the cinnamon swirl bread, taking both the items on the counter. Then you had to decide which main direction the sandwich would go in. Really savory. Something savory would make it feel like a real meal. As for the specific ingredients, cheese, mozzarella, turkey slices, pepper jack cheese, tofu. That's all. For the finishing touch, you intended to top your sandwich with hot sauce, salt and pepper. You nodded to yourself with a quiet hum and satisfaction. The two of you bustled around the kitchen, opening and closing things in order to collect everything you needed for your individual sandwiches. You focused intently on assembling your own for the most part. When you were close to being done, you glanced over at your neighbor. Cove was putting his sandwich together at Dexy, his brow furrowed and tongue sticking out just barely. There was an open jar of peanut butter and honey near his plate, as well as a banana peel. I get the peanut butter and honey. So he was making a peanut butter banana honey sandwich mixed in grain bread. You didn't think much of it. That wasn't really surprising or interesting. Curiosity stated you turned your back to your plate and finished your own creation. By the time you were done, Cove had already cleaned up his workstation. He turned to face you, studying your sandwich briefly. A small smile tugged the corners of his mouth. You guessed it didn't look inedible to him. Done? Yeah. Cool. You waited as you quickly returned to the ingredients and cleaned a few utensils. Then the two of you collected your respective plates. You both agreed on heading upstairs to hang out in your room. You and Cove enter your bedroom while balancing your food on the plate. Nothing felt that it was a successful trip. Cove took a seat on the ground, stretching out on the hard floor in an attempt to keep being cooler. He immediately took a big bite of his sandwich, chewed and hummed happily. The sandwich is really good, at least that's something. At this point, you sat down and started on your own sandwich. You were enjoying yours too. Obviously, you're a pro at making the sandwiches. He leaned back on his hands while chewing and glancing around. His every movement was sluggish. Wanted to do something. It seemed the plan of not doing anything had already worn thin, despite his lack of enthusiasm. Yeah. He rolled his head back, looking up at the ceiling. What about tic-tac-toe? this idea. Put, you put your plate to the side and you pull out some markers and scrap paper. You laid everything on the floor. You scooted back to make room in front of you. Okay. I want to be X, so you can go first. That's fair. Okay, that works for me. You prepared to note down your first move, your marker hovering at over the paper. Oh, X. After the first round, you were able to take another bite of your sandwich. When that occurred to you, I wonder if anyone turned the TV off downstairs. The TV, it was on earlier, but no one was really watching it. Then everyone just started to leave the living room. I know I didn't turn it off, so it might be on downstairs and no one's there. Carl smiled crookedly at that. Poor show's playing with no one around to enjoy it. What was it? He's squinting in the middle of distance, trying to recall the show's name. It was, I feel like it was some kind of crime-solving drama. Carlos nodded sleepily. He turned and opened again with some effort. Can you give me anything specific? Maybe I can guess it. Well, you rested your chin on your open palm, groggily, thinking as hard as you could. Okay. I remember there was a woman with long blonde hair. I think she was going to one of the solving crimes, like a detective or something. There were scenes in a police station because someone got arrested. You lapsed into silence, both of you, thoughtful, half chuckled. It wasn't funny, but you joined in the laughter anyway. You know what it is? What that is? You see that? You never saw it. Okay. Neither, I just saw it. Shit. Another round came and him went and Coke grumbled as he was okay. His feature was twisted and ignorant. I feel so sticky, we stuck to the floor forever. Now, okay. Okay, sorry. Charging rent and then, yeah, how much? $50. I can't afford that. But you gotta pay up if you want to stick around. He'll stuck his head at your terrible point and went back to the game instead of answering further. They stopped you forward ahead. Then you return to the game. Cole spoke up once more, catching your attention. He was peering down at the piece of paper in between you, his expression thoughtful. Okay. No, tic-tac-toe was such a weird name for the game. What does it even mean? Two of you fell asleep as you tried to puzzle out a logical question. Eventually, you just decided to return to the game. Okay. Woo! I think I'm gonna go. Falling asleep. And I'm gonna go. Okay, falling asleep. But thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go. And yeah. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!